Wow. It feels weird to be back, but it is good to be back. Welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. I am so well rested. Let me just say, a little too well rested. I was ready to retire after 2 weeks off. Guy was like, "How was your vacation?" I was like, a little too good. I got a little too used to not doing anything. But my time off was very good. Much needed. And I went home to New York. I spent time with friends and family, and it was so good to see them. I hadn't seen them in so long. So that was great. And the last Christmas, I didn't even make it home. I was in Tennessee. So it was just really good to be in New York. Unfortunately, I did get stuck in New York because of the snowstorm. Down here, I'm just not used to, the snow. I haven't even been a Floridian for a full year. And, going back up to New York and having to bundle up, I was very cold, and, to see snow, I never thought I'd see snow again. I was ready to move down here and just, live the palm tree beach lifestyle and leave the snow behind. But we did get a snowstorm, and for that reason, I was stuck. And oh my gosh, the airport shenanigans that if you watch this show, I love the airport shenanigans. I love videos of brawls. I love the chaos. And, my flight got canceled. And because I'm a normal person, I relaxed, right? I'm waiting for them to rebook me. This was JetBlue. Apparently JetBlue is a budget airline. Did you know that? Yes. Apparently, I never thought that JetBlue was a budget airline. People were like, well, why'd you fly JetBlue? That's like flying Spirit. I didn't think they were on the same level.
I've never correlated JetBlue with Spirit.
Me neither. But people were saying that JetBlue was a budget airline, and maybe it is, because the only way that I could get to and from New York for under $1,000 one way was JetBlue. And I didn't have the pick of the litter when it came to times. Like, I was flying at 6 a.m. and whatever. Anyway, it was still very expensive. But my flight got canceled. JetBlue would not rebook me. I was on their website's glitching. On their app is glitching. I was on hold with them for 6 hours. Could not get rebooked on a flight. I was supposed to be leaving the next day. I was like, this isn't good. Then I got the bright idea to pull a Karen move, and I got on Twitter and I rage tweeted at JetBlue, and within minutes, they were in my DMs, rebooked me on a new flight. It's amazing what being an asshole will do. And that is so not my character. I have never been a Karen in my life. I don't complain. If my food comes out and it's cold and there's a hair in it, I won't say anything. Like, I am so not confrontational. And, I just got on X, and all you have to do is rage tweet, and you get what you want. This is why Karens do what they do, apparently. They get what they want. They ask for the manager, and, this is the way of the world. But anyway, I was in the airport, and I had my very own airport meltdown situation that I witnessed. It wasn't my meltdown, but it was this couple, and they sat down next to me, and they were like, "Are you going to Philly?" And I said, "No, that flight they boarded like half an hour ago, and the doors are closed." And this couple gets up. There is no one even it was a Frontier flight to Philly. And there was no one at the desk anymore. Like, the people were on the flight, doors closed, they're taken off, right? They go up to the desk, no one's there. They are banging on the door like this. Both hands, both of them, the husband and the wife, are banging on the door. No one's coming for them. No one's coming to help you. You messed up. You missed your flight. They are banging. They are making such a scene in the airport. I was this close to pulling my phone out, but this was before I became a Karen. So now I'll be pulling my phone out. But I was just observing this absolute meltdown, as was everyone else in the airport, because it was so loud and so annoying. Then the couple thought that they were calling Frontier, but they went behind the desk. They picked up the loudspeaker. Like, how when they have the intercom, and they're like, boarding now, blah, blah, blah. The couple goes behind the desk. They pick up the intercom. And they're like, "Hello, is this Frontier?" And meanwhile, they're just yelling at all of us watching them. So they're having this total meltdown. It was insane. Anyway, I'm trying to be a better person in 2026. I'm trying to do a lot of things. I am doing 75 hard. This is a challenge that I've done twice before. I did it in Nashville. The 75 hard challenge, they don't call it 75 hard for no reason. It is hard. It is 2 45-minute workouts a day, one inside, one outside. You got to drink a gallon of water. You got to follow a diet. You got to take a progress picture every day. You got to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. So I am doing my version of 75 hard. I am doing 2 45-minute workouts a day. One is going to be strength training. One is going to be cardio. It is going to be indoor just because I want to use the Stairmaster. So this is where I'm cheating on the 75 hard a little bit. But I'm doing that. I will be drinking a gallon of water. I have my new cup. New cup dropped, everyone.
It's not any smaller.
No, this is the point. It needs to get bigger and bigger and bigger because I got to drink a gallon, and Guy and I have matching Awalas, and his isn't watermelon pink, but that's okay. We're working on it. But anyway, I am working on it. I've drank a gallon of water the last 5 days. I'm 5 days into 75 hard, and I feel great. Workouts are great. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm reading the Bible. So I was talking to Andy. This is a 75 hard challenge. Follow a diet. I'm doing paleo. I'm doing paleo plus rice. So I'm cheating a little bit, but paleo. I'm doing the 2 45-minute workouts, 1 weight training, 1 cardio, 4 liters, whatever. I'm doing a gallon. Is that a gallon? I don't even know. I'm like not good at math. So anyway, taking a progress picture. I will not be doing that every day. I don't have space on my phone for that. But I will be taking a progress picture in the beginning and in the end. And I'm just very excited. I'm reading the Bible 10 pages per day. I was telling Andy before I came in today that I've tried to read the Bible from front to back before. And once I get into some parts, I just start skipping around, right? I am focused. I am locked in on the Bible front to back this time. And with 75 hard, I thought this was a really good jumping off point because I can start 75 hard. You got to read 10 pages a day. My choice is the Bible. So by the time 75 hard is over, I'll be halfway through. And anything you do for more than 30 days becomes a habit. It just becomes, especially 40 days. And once you push into the 75-day territory, whatever you're doing becomes kind of second nature to you. So I'm hoping that once at the end of the 75 hard, I'm used to reading 10 pages of the Bible every day. It'll just be second nature, and I'll be able to, the 75 hard will kickstart the front to back reading of the Bible. So very excited for that. One more thing before we get into the show, because my goodness, we have so much to get into. I do want to say that I am on Shoutout. So if you haven't heard of Shoutout, you might have heard of Cameo. Cameo is where you can order videos from celebrities and politicians and things like that, and you can get a personalized message. But I am on Shoutout. Shoutout is the conservative version of that app, Cameo. So if you would like a personalized message for me, I know that the holiday season is over, so maybe you're not thinking of holiday gifts, but maybe for someone's birthday or something, or maybe just for fun. I've had people just reach out to me for advice. I'm recording one tonight. This guy wants advice to break up with someone or actually not enter into a relationship with someone. So I will be giving him advice for that. And yeah, this is it. So this is the Shoutout page. You can find me there, and I will give you a little shout out, whatever you want, advice, anything like that. So just a quick little plug. You could find it at the link in my Instagram bio at Hayley Caronia. So anyway, what are we getting into the show tonight? Well, Nick Shirley essentially ended Tampon Tim's political career, and he did it by exposing the truth. That's it. So new media for the win. This is exactly why the mainstream media is dying, and we love to see it. Also, the United States scooped up narco-terrorist dictator Nicolas Maduro in the middle of the night in a show of American dominance and excellence. Also, Mayor Mamdani in New York is just he's a lowly mayor, but for some reason he thinks he was appointed to be king of the world. I'm going to give him a much needed reality check. Also, a crazy man that kind of looks like a JD Vance meme in real life attempted to break into the vice president's Cincinnati home. And we're going to get into, his name is William something. And I found his Instagram where he goes by she, her pronouns, and he is also going by Julia. So if you put the little things together, the little clues, it seems like we have another one of these very violent transgenders on our hands. But we're going to get into all of that and so much more on this episode of Nightly Scroll. Updates. This is what happens when you're off for 2 weeks. I just get going. I'm yapping and filling people in.
You got to set the new year off like straight.
Yeah, but let's get into the news. And honestly, I mean, these last 2 weeks that we've been off have been just the craziest news cycle I've ever lived through. I mean, I didn't think that the Minnesota situation could get worse. And then with the Nick Shirley stuff and everything with Tim Walz dropping out of the gubernatorial race in Minnesota. I mean, seriously, I just wasn't expecting it. I knew it was bad, but it's even worse. So we're going to get into the Venezuela stuff as well. But first, let's kind of pick up from where we left off the last time that we met, which was a long time ago now. But to kind of bring everyone up to speed or to jog your memory, because the news cycle does move fast, the story begins at the Quality Leering Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And yes, they spelled leering incorrectly, learning incorrectly on the sign. Who would send their child to a daycare with a misspelled sign? Not me. Not any normal parent. Probably just Somali people that are defrauding the government, which turns out is the truth. If I rolled up to a daycare center with, little Johnny or little Susie and I saw Quality Leering Center on the wall, I would just turn around. I would say, no, thank you. There is no learning going on at the Leering Center. So there's also no outdoor play area. That is a requirement for a daycare. And in Minnesota, there's nowhere for kids to play outside. The reality is it's a front. It's attached to a restaurant too. The restaurant is on the other side. It's almost like this Leering Center is in the same building as this restaurant, which is on the other side of the street. And we know, and I'm not saying that this restaurant is affiliated. I don't know that for sure. But we know that other restaurants in this area that are run by Somalis are fraudulent. We know this. We covered this. I've covered this ad nauseum on the show with Ilhan Omar and her connection to this restaurant Safari. And the Safari restaurant, this is where Ilhan Omar had her campaign watch party or some event for her campaign. And it turns out that the people that own that restaurant were supposed to, they took all this money from the government during COVID to feed, apparently it was supposed to be like, I don't even know, some crazy number. I don't remember it off the top of my head. They wanted to feed all of these children that weren't in school during COVID or whatever. So this restaurant says, they raise their hand and say, oh yeah, we'll take this money from the government and we'll feed these families and these children in need. Did they ever do that? No. They lined their own pockets. And this is what brings me to the lining their own pockets kind of a thing. So the owner of this Leering Center, we're skipping number one, by the way. Maybe we'll get back to that in a second. But in the same vein as them lining their own pockets, this daycare center owner, he comes out and he says, well, oh my gosh, well now all this negative news is coming out about my daycare center and we're totally legit. We're just open at 10 p.m. Like, you came at off hours. Like you came during the middle of the day. Like we're not open during the middle of the day. Then he said, well, someone broke into our daycare center and stole all of our documentation. Really? Anyway, the guy in this press conference is wearing Chrome Hearts glasses. They are $2,500. And Andy was telling me that this is not typical for someone who wears glasses. This is not a typical price. I don't wear glasses. I have very good eyesight. I was like, is this normal? Do people pay this much for glasses? Andy says no. I figured as much.
Well, I definitely don't.
So I would assume if you're a daycare owner in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you're not rolling in it. But these are, these daycare owners, they are wearing, $2,500 Chrome Hearts glasses. And he's wearing what seems to be a Ted Baker quarter zip. I mean, this isn't someone who appears to be scraping by, just trying to serve the community, right? He's claiming someone broke in, stole the documents. They're claiming, we have real kids in the daycare. There are real kids in there. Okay. Let's see the security footage of people breaking in and stealing your documentation. I'll wait for that. Also, there was a Craigslist ad that has since been deleted. So I haven't seen it, but there are news articles about it. And there was a Craigslist article in Minneapolis, or a Craigslist posting, asking for child actors for a daycare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They said, like, our application or our certification is at risk because of blah, blah, blah reason. And it's just this sob story about we need kids for the daycare. It has since been taken down. So I haven't been able to check into that personally. I cannot independently verify that. But listen, it's sketchy, all right? All of this is sketchy. And then here's this woman. She's getting up there. She's saying, well, just watch this.
If childcare is cut, I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand fraud is bad.
Here she is panicking. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Oops. Fraud is our way of life. This is like, I know this is kind of old news, but guys, I haven't had a show in 2 weeks. Like, I have to play this video. Come on. I mean, this is like, you cannot even make this up. The writers of The Office could not make this up. Like, fraud is bad. She's frozen, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Then I don't know. I guess she gets nervous. She was reading off of something. Just continue. She doesn't even continue. Fraud is bad. Oopsies. Has a panic attack. Walks off, and everyone's like this. What is going on? Like, seriously, these people are absolute fraudsters. This is all you need to know that they are liars. They're really bad at lying too. Nothing is bad when if you say fraud is bad, what is bad about that? What do you have to hide? But when fraud is funding your way of life and your community's way of life and your family's way of life, then that's bad. So that's what she was realizing in the moment. And it turns out that most of these daycare centers, a lot of them, which are run out of people's homes, allow parents to receive checks to raise their own kids in their own damn homes. And they collect full salaries from the government. So I do have a contact with someone who works at DHS, and I haven't been able to get on the phone with them yet. But we are going to have exclusive information on this coming on the show this week. I'm going to get on the phone with them and I'm saying them not because they're trans, I'm protecting their identity. But I'm going to get on the phone with them and get to the bottom of this. They work for DHS. A lot of these Somali daycares are getting DHS funds. It is crazy. So we're going to get into all that. But people were very upset with Nick Shirley, who's a YouTuber. I've played his videos on this show many a time. He's known for his man on the street videos. He's great. And people online, liberals, were very upset with Nick Shirley for exposing the truth. They were calling him a pedophile, saying that if he was demanding to enter a daycare, then that means he's a pedophile. I mean, you just can't make sense. These people are rotten to their core. But not only did people call him a pedophile, they were also calling him ICE. If we could call back video 1. Let's watch this.
They spelled learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have ICE here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ICE!
Ma'am, what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children and getting $4 million
Don't
over
open
the
up! It's ICE!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
Are you in favor of $1.9 million going illegally,
Don't open up!
fraudulently to this business that has quality learning center but can't even spell learning right on the door? Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up! It's ICE!
Who is she?
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children right here at this building, but there's no one here.
Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah,
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there?
I haven't seen anybody in there.
So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelled learning wrong. They've received over $1.9
We can pull out
million
of this. I
this
just
year
wanted
alone.
to show you guys the absolute white liberal Karen screaming that he is ICE, immigration enforcement, when all he's doing, and who are you with? I'm Nick Shirley with Nick Shirley. This is the epitome of independent media. I am Nick Shirley with Nick Shirley. Thank you. It's like, can I speak to the manager? I am the manager. Can I speak to the owner? I am the owner. So anyway, this woman is just screaming at the top of, again, we know this. We played this video on the show a few weeks ago of these seminars that are being taken place at churches and other community centers where they're teaching people to film and call out ICE and all this stuff. So this woman, maybe she went to one of those seminars. I don't know. Maybe she's just a libtard. I don't know. But she is screaming, ICE, ICE, ICE. Nick is not ICE. He's not trying to have these people deported. He doesn't have the authority to do that, but he does have the authority to shed some light on the situation, and people were really upset by that. If you follow the Krasenstein brothers on X, they are two, I think they're twins or they're brothers, and they're liberals, they're Democrats. And they were so upset about Nick Shirley exposing this, they threatened to sue Nick Shirley for defamation. Why do these twins, these random twins on X, care so much that Nick Shirley is exposing this and exposing these Democrat frauds? Again, all of these like Democrat influencers, they're bought and paid for. They probably got their marching orders from someone at the DNC or somewhere, and they were probably like, you gotta, make Nick Shirley go away. And so they're threatening to sue him for defamation. Come on. I mean, all they're doing is showing up out front and saying, where are the kids? It's broad daylight. It was on a Tuesday. What's going on here? They're getting millions of dollars for what, right? So exposing that, people not so happy. And not only that, I mean, CNN was trying to debunk Nick Shirley. Watch this.
Done enough. I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children? They're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
This is the best part.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside?
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
So the CNN reporter calls all of these places and only one answers. Well, that's not a good sign. If you're an open business and CNN calls you and you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you answer the phone during business hours? Why wouldn't you call CNN back, right? Then she said one of them said they were legitimate. Oh, okay, well, case closed then. Thanks, CNN. Awesome. They said they were legitimate, so let's just take them at their word, and all this fraud, I guess it's just nothing. I guess Nick Shirley is a total liar. I mean, come on. American politics has become so black and white where nobody uses critical thinking skills. They're so beholden to the team that they are on. That is why you have Democrats defending Somali fraudsters. And this isn't just a problem with the Somali community. This is a problem not just in Minnesota. This is how our system works. People defraud the American taxpayer to fund the dumbest stuff you've ever heard of. This is nothing new. Any bill that's passed is stuffed to the brim with pork for all these Democrat wish list items. Climate stuff, gay stuff, whatever. But it's not just happening in Minnesota. It's happening in Ohio, and it's certainly happening in California. I talked to Sheriff Chad Bianco on this show probably 2 weeks ago now, and we talked about this very thing. This is before Nick Shirley even exposed what was going on in Minnesota. We were talking about how these NGOs are defrauding people. And all these charities, they are exploiting people. They are exploiting charity dollars and all this stuff. And they say that they're good and they say that they're doing it for a good cause. And it's not. They're lining their own pockets. It is absolutely, with the fire aid and all that stuff, if you think that what's happening in Minnesota is bad, I can assure you what's happening in California is 10 times worse. And our country is just one big money laundering scheme. That's it. So I think Nick Shirley should get some rest, some well-deserved rest, then go to California and expose what's happening with fire aid and the healthcare for illegals and the funding to fix the homeless crisis that never goes away and all that stuff. Because this is why the Democrats were screeching about Doge. Also, if you want to stop Gavin Newsom from getting anywhere near the Oval Office, we need Nick Shirley to go to California. Just saying. But you remember, Democrats were absolutely up in arms over Elon Musk and Doge. Why? Well, it all makes sense, doesn't it? It all makes sense now. Because exposing corruption undermines everything they do. It undermines their way of life. It undermines the way they do business. It all crumbles. All the stuff they do to line their own pockets. But now the walls are closing in on Tampon Tim, right? He's the governor of Minnesota. All of this happened underneath his watch, under his nose, and he knows it now. So he put out this statement. It is a doozy. I mean, seriously, Minnesota has to come first always. Today, I'm proud of the work we've done to make Minnesota the best place to live and raise kids if you are a Somali fraudster. I just added that part myself. I've decided to step out of the race and let others worry about the election while I focus on the work. I hate that phrase, the work. We have to do the work. I mean, oh my gosh, I hate all these liberal phrases and liberalisms. I hate them. The work, microaggression, equity, like all this stuff. Hate, hate, hate. Anyway, I want to go through Tim Walz's statement. He is backing out of the gubernatorial race. He will not seek re-election for a third term. That means, I don't know. I mean, can we get a Republican in there? We'll talk about it in just a minute. But this is what he said. Quote, like many Minnesotans, I was glad to turn the page on 2025. It was an extraordinarily difficult year for our state, and it ended on a particularly sour note. So he's using the turn the page language courtesy of his crazy wife, Gwen. You might remember that from the campaign trail. Turn the page. Anyway, he just has to admit that he's a complete and utter failure. I mean, save us the time, right? The year ended on a sour note because of you. Okay, so let's get to that. He says, for this last several years, an organized group of criminals have sought to take advantage of our state's generosity. That's one hell of a way to spin what's going on here. And even as we make progress in the fight against the fraudsters, we now see an organized group of political actors seeking to take advantage of the crisis. Tim, you were just too nice, Tim. You were so nice to the Somalis. How could they turn on you like that? Don't play dumb. This is why it's better to be called names like racist and bigot and xenophobic than get squashed by foreign fraudsters. I mean, seriously. You're supposed to protect your state first and foremost. Who cares about the name calling, right? But he's a Democrat, so Democrats are beholden to the cancel culture mob snowflake retards that vote for them. So therefore, he is very concerned about being called a racist and a bigot and a xenophobe. So he has to, placate to the Somali community and let them run amok and, defraud everyone. So anyway, then he blames Trump because when in doubt, blame Trump. He said this, quote, I won't mince words here. Donald Trump and his allies in Washington and St. Paul and online want to make our state a colder, meaner place. They want to poison our people against each other by attacking our neighbors. And ultimately, they want to take away much of what makes Minnesota the best place in America to raise a family if you are a Somali fraudster. I added that part myself. Again, he continues, they've already begun taking our tax dollars that were meant to help families afford childcare, and they have no intention of stopping there. Well, thank God, right? He's referring to the fact that the Trump administration is pulling funding from Minnesota because clearly they can't be trusted. Clearly, Tim Walz can't be trusted. Clearly, the politicians there can't be trusted. Clearly, the Somali community there cannot be trusted. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, he said this. Make no mistake, we should be concerned about the fraud in our state government. We cannot effectively deliver programs and services if we cannot earn the public's trust. That is why over the past few years, we've made systematic changes to the way we do business. Please, Tim, tell us about the changes you've made that were clearly working so well. All the guidelines that you put in place and the guardrails so that, fraud wouldn't occur. Oh, wait. whatever changes you did were not working. So I'm not going to waste your time with all this other stuff because it's a load of bull. But here's the good part where he basically admits that he's ending his political career. A single taxpayer dollar wasted on fraud is a dollar too much to tolerate. Amen. And while there's a role to play for everyone, from the legislature to the prosecutors to insurance companies to local and county government, the buck stops with me. Yes, it does. My administration is taking fast, decisive action to solve the crisis, and we will win the fight against the fraudsters, okay? My question is, also, the damage has been done, by the way, but okay. My question is, and it's rhetorical, because we all know the answer. If not for Nick Shirley exposing the fraud and shedding the light on this and bringing the nation's attention to it, would Tim Walz have resigned, or not resigned, but pulled out of the race? Of course not. Of course not. He's sorry that he got caught. Then he says, but I reflected on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays. I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute I spend defending my own political interests would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who prey on our differences. I can't with these. I can't with this statement. It is just, it's a disaster. It's a total disaster. And then again, he's playing to this, well, we're just good people. Like, enough with the fake, Midwest niceties. Like, you're a politician. Don't for 1 second pretend like you were just this nice guy. Like, you were orchestrating this. You allowed this fraud to happen. And I'm sure he's going to spend the next few months covering his own ass, not necessarily rooting out the fraud. So anyway, he goes on this rampage against Republicans because it's all Trump's fault and it's all Republicans' fault. And then he calls out Nick Shirley. Watch this.
We've got Republicans here in the state legislature playing hide and seek with potential whistleblowers. We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children.
Come on.
We've got the President of the United States demonizing our Somali neighbors and wrongfully confiscating funds that Minnesotans rely on. It's disgusting and it's dangerous. Republicans are playing politics with the future of this state. It's shameful. And I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. We welcome ideas from anyone, in any party, from any walk of life, who wants to help us continue to stay ahead of these criminals. And we welcome the involvement of the federal government. I am grateful to the career professionals at the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI who have been helping us fight this fight for years.
Oh, thank you, Feds.
But I cannot abide the actions of the political leadership in Washington. These opportunists are willing to hurt our people to score cheap points. They and their allies have no intention of helping us solve this problem, and every intention of trying to profit off of it.
Someone in the chat asked if that was a Somali flag behind him. No, that is the flag of Minnesota, which looks it's been redesigned to look very close to the Somali flag. But yeah, he's just covering his own ass. Thank you, law enforcement. We really appreciate you getting to the bottom of this fraud that I knew nothing about. Who's going to be the governor next? I don't know. But it's certainly not going to be Tampon Tim. And Nick Shirley posted this on X earlier saying that he ended Tim Walz. And he certainly did. And we have Nick Shirley to thank for that. And I am very grateful to him for exposing all of this. I want to tell you quickly about Fatty 15. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to have some stiff joints, some poor sleep, and I'm sure you, like me, want to find something that will help you feel younger and slow down aging. So I'm excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15. It is the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy. And based on studies, we know that when our cells don't have enough C15, they can age faster. Fatty 15 can help repair and protect age-related damage to cells and help activate pathways in the body that support our overall wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, 100% pure C15 supplement that comes in a gorgeous, reusable jar. I'm having much more energy since Fatty 15 sent me some to try, and it is really helping me get through long days. Seriously, guys, when I take this, my head hits the pillow and I am out. And Fatty 15 is on a mission to help optimize your C15 levels that will support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/scroll and using code SCROLL at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All right, well, let's get into Venezuela, because these were the two big news stories that we've missed, right? The fraud in Minnesota and also Venezuela. So 30 Delta Force soldiers, the elite of the elite of the elite in the U.S. Army, they popped up on dictator Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela in his sleep, arrested him, dragged him to New York. This is what we love to see. And not only did I love to see it, now there's conversations about, if we could do this in Venezuela, what about Cuba? What about Taiwan? What about, all these places, right? And President Trump was asked about this on, I believe it was on Air Force One over the weekend. And Lindsey Graham, especially, he was very, very excited at the prospect of maybe us going into some other countries. Watch this.
One of the things that is happening, and I think you see it all the time, Howard, you've seen it, that Cuba is ready to fall. Yes. Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out. But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela, from the Venezuelan oil. They're not getting any of it. And Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
Marco Rubio.
Lindsey Graham is looking at President Trump like a schoolgirl with a crush. Like, he is just just the thought of us potentially going into Cuba, liberating Cuba. I mean, he is giddy. He is absolutely giddy. He's smiling. He's kicking his feet. He's blushing a little bit. He's laughing. He's just like, oh my God, are we going to war? Should I get some stock in Lockheed Martin? I think I should. He's getting way too excited. Someone in the chat said he's salivating. Literally. I am not going to lie. I am not a war hawk by any means, but I was scrolling on TikTok last night and I was talking about this in my Get Ready With Me video that I posted on Instagram. I was on the elliptical doing my 75 hard for an hour and a half last night, and I was so locked in. I was scrolling like you wouldn't believe. And video after video after video was edits of the United States military. Just these badass, like these bombers and these soldiers, and they're running, and they were like recruitment videos, right? This is how you know that Oracle is in charge of the TikTok algorithm now. This is like complete like military propaganda for the United States of America. I don't hate it. I felt like Lindsey Graham watching it. I was so excited. Anyway, literally one more video, I would have turned into Lindsey Graham, I think. It would have been scary. But anyway, President Trump, he delivered the FAFO. He even said it himself in this video. Watch this.
Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Mic drop. This is why we voted this man in office. Because we could have had the Biden administration, and we all know how they deal with terrorists and criminals. They don't really do anything at all. And the Biden administration had put bounties on Nicolas Maduro and his cronies, and they couldn't get the job done. And it is quite a feat. I don't mean to say this, that it was easy and it was easily done, but it's clear that it is amazing what can be done with proper leadership. We have the Secretary of War that got all the gay stuff out of there. We're not focusing on DEI. We're not focusing on what color you are and who you're sleeping with. We are focused on the mission. And finally, we are mission focused. And, here is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He was on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan, who is confused as to why they didn't do more. So this is Marco Rubio's very own I don't really care Margaret moment. Watch.
I'm confused. Are they still wanted by the United States? Why didn't you arrest them if you are taking out the narco-terrorist regime?
You're confused? I don't know why that's confusing to you.
They're still in power.
It's very simple. You're not going to go in and wrap up. But yeah, but you can't go, you're going to go in and suck up 5 people. They're already complaining about this one operation. Imagine the howls we would have from everybody else if we actually had to go and stay there 4 days to capture 4 other people. We got the top priority. The number one person on the list was the guy who claimed to be the president of the country that he was not, and he was arrested along with his wife, who was also indicted. And that was a pretty sophisticated and frankly complicated operation.
It was.
It is not easy to land helicopters in the middle of the largest military base in the country. The guy lived on a military base. Land within 3 minutes, kick down his door, grab him, put him in handcuffs, read him his rights, put him in a helicopter, and leave the country without losing any American or any American assets. That's not an easy mission. And you're asking me, why didn't we do that in 5 other places at the same time? I mean, that's absurd.
It is absurd. And in that clip, I mean, it continues on and she just continues to stumble. Well, why do you start with Maduro? You know, there are other people there who are still in place. You know, why would you start there? And Marco Rubio is like, well, he's the illegitimate president. Why wouldn't we start with him? If we could start with the top guy, why wouldn't we do that? Margaret keeps stumbling, being like, you know, this mission wasn't actually as great as they're saying. And clearly she has no idea what she's talking about. And if she doesn't know what she's talking about, she should just shut up. And then Face the Nation, which is the show that she hosts, they posted this exchange that I just showed you on their social medias. I was scrolling on TikTok and Face the Nation came up and that clip came up. And I literally commented, why would you post this? You look stupid. Like, you actually got your ass handed to you by the Secretary of State. Like, why would you post this? Not only that, President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio said there was a reason why Congress wasn't clued in, because this is one of the other liberal sticking points with this whole thing, this whole mission. They say, well, President Trump didn't get, again, they're using this precedent where, well, Congress is supposed to sign off on acts of war. This isn't war. But here is President Trump and Marco Rubio explaining why Congress wasn't clued in. Watch.
President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved in it.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, you know. We had a lot of ships out there. They sort of knew we were coming.
They knew we were coming, which is funny. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But lest we forget that the Pentagon isn't chock full of reporters anymore either. So that was also probably helpful in keeping this a concealed mission and pulling it off. But President Trump said they knew that we were coming. Here are some signs, right? Here's an account on X. This is obviously a joke. But there's an account on X called Pentagon Pizza Report. And, you know, this is an unofficial way of figuring out if something's going on in the Pentagon late at night, because if they are ordering a lot of pizza, if this pizza place is popping off at 2 a.m, well, maybe there are some Pentagon workers in there working late. Maybe they're working on something. Maybe, you know, they couldn't just go home. They couldn't call it a day early. They couldn't eat dinner at home. So this is Pizzato Pizza, which is in the Pentagon area. And at 2 a.m., it was busier than usual. And usually there's no wait, but right as we were striking Venezuela and kidnapping their illegitimate president, the pizza place at the Pentagon was popping off. So I don't know, maybe if the reporters paid attention to the Pentagon Pizza Report, they would have known that something was coming. Anyway, the legacy media has decided that, you know, Trump is bad, and that's the story that they're going with. And this really just goes to show that the white savior complex loses out to the TDS. We know that white liberal Karens, they're obsessed with, you know, caring for and voting for and speaking on behalf of minority communities, but not anymore. Not when it comes to the Venezuelan people. Now you have white liberals and Democrats, Trump deranged Democrats that are so upset at Maduro being captured. And then you have the Venezuelan people who are rejoicing. Exhibit A.
I woke up to the news and I was really saddened to see that this is happening.
All I could feel was jubilant. I woke up my wife. I'm like, Milena, like, look at the news.
This is just such a power grab. They're there for the oil. We're there for the oil.
This is a great thing for us that we might have freedom to go to and from the country I was born in. It's a beautiful country with beautiful people.
I'm just tired of U.S. imperialism. I'm tired of this is just another needless war.
Nobody in Venezuela has been allowed to speak freely about
It's not even a war.
What's been going on. So just there's been a lack of freedom, a lack of opportunity.
I think it's really important that we also let the country
She's
of
crying
Venezuela
now.
know that a majority of us don't support this and we don't stand for this and we're with them. And yeah, we stand in solidarity with Venezuela and the people of Venezuela.
I am hoping that this change will allow some of us to be able to return, to be able to visit, to be able to establish roots for my son to see where he's from. I'm very hopeful for the changes that are going to happen.
I mean, that woman crying, saying, I just want the Venezuelan people to know we stand with them. We do not support this. You have no clue what you were talking about. Not a damn clue. But they can't help themselves. They see a camera, a news camera. I don't know what station was interviewing her, but she's probably like, here's my time to shine. I'm going to cry on camera and I'm going to act, like my white savior complex. I'm going to feel very badly for the Venezuelan people. And I can pat myself on the back and feel good about this. And she looks like a dumbass. So, we already knew that the No Kings protest, it was never about no kings. It was an I hate Trump march. We already knew this. But this is a deranged level of Trump hatred to side with an actual dictator over Trump, who was a duly elected president, by the way. And these are the people that screech about democracy being thrown away and the Constitution being ripped up. And you have AOC and other members of Congress, the squad, Jasmine Crockett. They're saying, he didn't ask us first. He didn't ask us if we could free Venezuela. And they probably would have said no, right? So it's absolutely insane. And I was on that video that we just played on TikTok. Someone commented, the Venezuelan people were living the hell that Democrats want us to be in. And that's true. Like, this strike and this capture of Maduro doesn't fit the democratic socialist narrative. Venezuela is exhibit A for how this does not work. It doesn't apply. You apply it, it doesn't work. Socialism does not work. It doesn't work anywhere. People are poor, they can't eat, the dollar means absolutely nothing, and they are not free. And Democrats want to sell us that hell here. I do not think so. I do not think so. Here's another video of a Venezuelan, just chef's kiss. Watch.
Because of the oil. People, we do not control our oil. We haven't seen our oil. Russia, Iran, Cuba, China, whatever other countries, Central America and South America, we've been giving away our oil to all these countries. Like, we're not seeing that. Anyways, so, and we used to have trades and whatever other things with the United States before Chavez about our oil, and our country was working fine. So the way we don't care, don't worry about us. If the United States wants to take our oil, we will be happy to be giving away the oil to the United States if that means that our country is going to be safe and that us citizens, residents of whatever of Venezuela are going to be good, are going to be able to make money, are going to be able to retire, which none of those things are happening right now. And then number 3, if you're worried about what United States did to Venezuela and that what's going to happen now, nothing, literally, and I mean this, nothing can be worse than the hell we've lived up until now. So stop, and I mean this, stop trying to explain Venezuela to Venezuelans. Stop. If you want to know, reach out to someone from Venezuela.
Exactly. This is the whole point of the white savior complex. It's white people or it's liberals. They're trying to act like a good person and speak on behalf of minority communities when they do not know what these people have been going through. And socialism is a cancer. It is a cancer. It is dangerous. We cannot let it come here. It'll ruin our country. It'll ruin everything that makes this country great. Now, Maduro and his wife, they're arrested. They're brought to New York. He is in the same, or they are in the same prison as Luigi Mangione and Diddy. So it is quite the star-studded lineup in the Manhattan Correctional. But he pleaded not guilty to all charges of narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and weapons charges. His wife is also facing charges. Other Venezuelan officials, his son also facing charges. So this is, to the point, hearkening back to that clip of Marco Rubio and on CBS. I don't think that this is over. I think this is far from over. They started with Maduro. Now all these other people that they had bounties out for, they are going to get them next. This is going to be a process. And, President Trump has said we are in charge of Venezuela now. So we are going to hopefully oversee the president that the Venezuelans duly elected. He is going to take office, right? Like they had a president and Maduro wouldn't leave office. So anyway, Maduro was wearing this Nike Tech tracksuit, and everyone is searching for this now, and it is a bestseller now on the Nike website. And the sweatshirt, I'm looking at it now. It's this gray sweatsuit. You've all seen the photos, right, of Maduro wearing this and getting captured in it. And he's in this gray sweatsuit, and it's sold out in a lot of sizes. It's sold out in medium tall, large tall, extra large tall, extra large tall, 3XL, 3XL tall, 4XL, and 4XL tall. So if you're interested in matching Nicolas Maduro, you are in luck. If you are a medium, large, extra large, or XXL, you are in luck. But it is $140, the sweatshirt. The sweatshirt is $140 and the pants are $120. What the hell? Like, seriously, people are buying that? I am just absolutely, this drives me crazy. And I make it a point to not buy sweatpants or workout clothes that are very expensive. Never have I ever spent $1 at Lululemon. Never. Why do leggings that you sweat in, why are they $100? Why are they $100 plus? Why are sweatshirts $140 when this is made in a sweatshop for probably 2 cents? It's totally crazy. Like, why are these things this expensive? I don't know. Anyway, Maduro's wearing this expensive tracksuit. So if you want to match him, maybe this Halloween, you can. And maybe this is why this is flying off the shelves. Here's a meme that I found funny. This is October 31st, 2026, and no one understands your costume. And it is Nicolas Maduro in the tracksuit, in the style of the famous Ben Affleck meme of him standing against the wall, just looking absolutely dejected with the cigarette. So again, if you are looking for a Halloween costume and you're thinking that maybe you want to pay a tribute to the narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro, that's an option. Also, jokes about Diddy and Maduro being in the same correctional facility, saying that they both held strategic oil reserves. One, crude oil in Venezuela, the other, baby oil. But yes, masters in the oil industry, oil tycoons, if you will, Diddy and Maduro. So that was funny. Also, this video made me chuckle earlier today. This is President Trump, who is also now the president of Venezuela. Watch.
Hola, amigos. Yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donald J. Trump. Your ex-presidente, el señor Maduro, is no longer your presidente. He kept talking shit, and fucking around, though, and he ultimately found out, though. Anyway, we're going to make Venezuela grande again. Mucho grande. El bigger y el better than ever before. We're going to drill, baby drill. We're going to have a big, beautiful fiesta, all the tacos you want. Mucho mariachi, sexy mamacitas, and delicious margaritas. and President Trump was going to be el DJ, okay? Muchas gracias, muchachos. Y let's make el Venezuela grande again. Arriba el Venezuela, amigos.
Let's make Venezuela grande again. I think as someone who doesn't speak Spanish, that was perfect. Perfect Spanish. The accent, perfect. No notes. Absolutely wonderful. I think he said il presidento too. Yeah. No notes. That was perfect. People were joking too that Marco Rubio is now going to be the president of Venezuela. He's also going to be the governor of Minnesota. He's picked up a few new jobs in the last few weeks. I mean, every news cycle, I feel like we're joking about Marco Rubio picking up, putting on another hat, if you will. Is there another Ben Affleck meme? What is this 18? Can we play it? Can we show it? I forget what it was. I pulled it because I thought it was funny, but I forget. Oh, yeah. So exactly. These are the two themes of the show, right? We've got the Minnesota fraud and we've got the Nicolas Maduro. So both in the style of the Ben Affleck leaning against the wall, dejected, smoking a cigarette style. In that style of that meme, we have Governor Tampon Tim on the left with the cigarette head against the wall, just, his political career coming to an end. And he's alongside Nicolas Maduro. I mean, just corrupt assholes, right? Just two corrupt assholes just standing together sharing a cig. But yeah, it's been a wild week. It really, really has. And I just want to say, as this show comes to a close, because I've got a lot of videos that I want to do for scrolling time, but I don't know if I have time for all of it. I think I might just end on the JD Vance story just so that we get that in. But we've got big things coming here at Silverlock Media, and I am just so excited to take you all along with us. And I know I don't mean to tease something and not tell you what's going on, but when we can tell you and when Dan can tell you and when I can share certain things that are going to be going on with this show and everything, I mean, it is all just very exciting and you will be the first to know. So Dan's going to be, in his personal capacity, able to, he's already put out tweets today and it's just all very exciting, lots to look forward to. So I just wanted to say thank you for watching this show. I know that many of you watched this show because Dan told you to a few months ago. And a lot of you have hung on because you did like the content. And I just want to say this next year, we are going to be up to the moon. We are so excited about what's happening here with this show and with Silverlock as a whole. So I just wanted to say thank you. But last story before we end the show, Vice President Vance's home in Cincinnati was broken into. And it was broken into by a 26-year-old guy named William DeFore. And he's been arrested. And his face, I mean, he looks like a JD Vance meme. If you just scroll down, doesn't he look like fat JD Vance? All he needs is a curly wig, and this would be fat JD Vance meme. Anyway, maybe he was jealous of the vice president. Maybe he was, I don't know. Maybe this is why. So he was spotted by a Secret Service agent. He was on the property, and security footage caught him damaging 4 windows in the vice president's home in Cincinnati. He also damaged a vehicle at the property. And this guy has been charged now with criminal damaging and endangering, obstructing official business, and criminal trespass, all misdemeanors, as well as 1 count of vandalism, which is a 5th-degree felony. Thankfully, the vice president and his family were not there at the time. Thankfully, there was a Secret Service agent there anyway, which makes sense. But, I mean, people are they're absolutely crazy, and you just cannot be too sure anymore. And Vice President Vance put out a statement on X earlier saying, "I appreciate everyone's well wishes about the attack at our home. As far as I can tell, a crazy person tried to break in by hammering the windows. I'm grateful to the Secret Service and Cincinnati police for responding quickly. We weren't even home as we had returned already to D.C. One request to the media, we try to protect our kids as much as possible from the realities of this life of public service. In that light, I am skeptical of the news value of plastering images of our home with holes in the windows." So again, I will not show you a photo of the holes in the windows. You can imagine what that would look like. But I will show you this interesting photo that I found of a Julia DeFore on Instagram. And you might be able to tell that Julia looks very similar to William Dufour, except this Julia has she, her pronouns, and they have, the same face. I just found, his like transgender burner Instagram account, I guess. The account's private, and again, I don't know if this is connected to William specifically. I would need Instagram to confirm that. But it seems like we have a trend on our hands in this country, right, of transgender individuals that are extremely violent. And I will just say, I will leave it on this note. We will hold and wait for more information, and I will bring it to you tomorrow. So thank you all for waiting this 2-week hiatus, coming back for the live show. I appreciate all of you. Of course, you can follow me for more content in between at Hayley Caronia on Instagram, X, Truth Social, and whatever else, at TikTok. And I will see you right back here tomorrow.